Rowie, you're so self-centered. Haha, yes I am. Because my acronym for self is that you're strong, you're energetic, you're lean and you're fit. Self, strong, energetic, lean, fit. Strong, energetic, lean and fit. So how do you get strong, energetic, lean and fit? And is it simple? Is it complicated? Is it the same for everybody? And if it was really simple and easy, would people still do it? And they're all great questions. I'm lifting up my rake here because I've changed from a very lightweight aluminium rake to this very heavy metal iron rake. Now it's really strong and it works really well, but I have to work much harder to use this rake than when I had my lightweight rake. But has that made me stronger? And it's a really interesting question because a lot of people talk about being fit and being strong. I get really puffed, or I get really sore, or I can go a long time, or I can do a class for 45 minutes, or I can climb mountains for 4 hours, or I can work in my garden with a heavy rake for hours and hours. What is your definition of fitness? And if you go just to the simple physiology, if you've got a low resting heart rate, so your heart doesn't have to pump very fast when you're not exercising, is a good definition or a good sign that you're physically fit. And then when you get really puffed, so you push yourself to 100% effort, and the scary thing for some people about that, of course, is, oh, I can't push myself to 100% effort. But you can, because that's the phosphate system. It's only 10 seconds. And even if you're really unfit, you can do something for 10 seconds as hard as you can. Now, you might not do it really fast, but if you do something for 10 seconds and get really puffed, the time it takes you to get your heart rate back to resting is a sign that you're really fit or really unfit. So a really fit person, their heart rate will go back to normal resting very, very quickly, and obviously an unfit person could take a very long time, a couple of hours even. It becomes a stressful situation for the body. But the question I always ask is this: why do we have such interesting other definitions about what fitness is? So sometimes we look at somebody with ripped abdominals and say they must be really fit, or they can walk for 3 hours in the bush. Well, they must be really fit. Or they can lift something really heavy, so they must be really strong. Or they go to the gym 5 times a week for 3 hours and they do lots and lots of repetitions and lots of sets, so they must be really strong. So, and here's another one. I get really sore. I must be really fit and strong because when I train I get really sore. Or I've heard the opposite, where people say to me, I mustn't be very fit or I mustn't be very strong because I went for a walk or I went to the gym or I lifted something and I'm really sore. Well, there's a great question to ask there. What if you get really strong without getting sore? And what if you're really sore but you don't get any stronger? What if you get really puffed and you don't have any muscle soreness at all? And what if you can't get puffed because you're not fit enough, but you still get really sore? So is the definition of fitness and strength, does it actually have anything to do with muscle soreness? I've asked lots of questions, but the reason I ask questions is a lot of people who are preaching, teaching and telling you what to do about eating and exercise. I've been an exercise professional all of my life. I started exercising at 10. I'm now a very old lady, and all I do is ask questions of the experts, of the exercise physiologists, of the coaches, of the cardiologists, of the epidemiologists. I just ask lots of questions because I think we've been led down a few too many garden paths. So for example, I've gotten sore because my rake's heavier. My aluminium rake was easy to lift. This heavy metal rake, it probably weighs 3 times more. But is it making me stronger? No, because it's technically not overload. I can lift much heavier than this rake. Now, I can get muscle soreness from overuse. So if I rake for 3 hours, I can be very sore the next day. But it doesn't mean that I've done anything to increase my strength. I could rake for 3 hours slowly and it's not going to do anything for my fitness. And I can't rake for 3 hours fast because if I want to get really fit, I need to do something at 100% effort. So I combine that, of course. So I rake really fast for 10 seconds, wait till I get my breath back, which when you're really fit happens very quickly, and then I start raking again. I'm sharing all of that with you because isn't it important that you find out what's working for you? And then the reverse, if you are really fit, so you've got a low resting heart rate, and you recover quickly from getting puffed. And if you are getting stronger or you are strong, and strength is simply I can lift something heavier than I did before, then I know that I'm getting stronger. So the question then would be, strong for what? So if you want to be strong for powerlifting or you want to be strong for strongman competition, you obviously have to get very, very strong. But isn't strength more about what I want to do with my life? So if I can come out into my garden for 3 hours and rake and pick and lift logs and rocks, and I've just moved my new Gazza the gun, he's pretty bloody heavy. It took, I think, 4 people to get him off the trailer, but I've moved him around a few times now because I'm really strong. So I'm sharing that with you because rather than listen to other people's definitions of what you should and shouldn't do, and if you're sore, you must have worked hard, versus if you're not sore, you couldn't possibly be working hard. And I've heard that too many times. How about this? If you've got a low resting heart rate and you can get puffed and recover quickly, that's a great sign of being fit. If you can lift heavy, and whatever the heavy is for you, so if you can lift all of your, this is a fun one for me, if I've got 10 bags of groceries in the car, I always try and get all 10 out at once and carry them to the kitchen because I like to test my strength. If we see a big log in the lake and it's full of water, it's really heavy because when you're full of water, that's a really interesting thing to take note of. When you stand on your scales, you too will weigh heavier if you're hydrated. You will weigh lighter if you're dehydrated. So my logs out here, they're all dehydrated now, so they're not very heavy. But when we pulled them out of the water, they were very heavy. So I know that if I can pick something up, if I go to pick something up and I can't move it, I need to get stronger to move it, or I have to get some help to move it, or do I need to get strong enough to move that? And they're all really important questions, I think, when it comes to fitness and strength. And I always ask these questions. Do you have a stack of energy? Do you perform at your best? Do you love what you see in the mirror? Do you love the way your body feels to touch? And are you getting the results that you want from your eating and exercise plan? Now, whether or not you're getting sore after that shouldn't matter. If you do something that's over and over and over, and I always use this example, I could do this with my little finger for an hour, and I would get sore. It doesn't mean I've got a stronger finger, and it doesn't mean I've done anything of value. I've just got a sore finger that's moved around a lot. And I think that's a lot of people's exercise programs, don't you? They move around a lot. There's a lot of activity, but not very much productivity and not much result. If I go to the gym and lift light weight, I'm just moving something that I'm already capable of, so I'm not going to get any stronger. So to get strong, I have to overload. To get fit, I have to overload. I have to do it safely, otherwise I'll get hurt, and if I'm injured, I can't do anything. And if it takes too long, I'll probably get bored. But if I work in the phosphate system, which is that fight and flight system, the only energy system where you can work at 100% effort, then that's only 10 seconds, very, very tiny chance of being injured because it's such a short period of time, so you can't get overuse injury. You'll get really fit, you'll get really strong, and then you can go and do all the things that you want to do, which is why when people say to me, Rowie, do you work in your garden to get fit and to get strong? No, I get fit and strong so that I can come and work in my garden. I get fit and strong so I can run marathon. I get fit and strong so I can go hiking for 3 or 4 hours in the mountains. But I don't use those as my fitness or my strength training. My fitness training is high intense 10-second bursts of activity. Doesn't matter what it is because your heart and lungs are blind. I lift something heavy for 10 seconds, and as many as I can possibly lift in 10 seconds. And if I can go longer than 10 seconds with that particular weight, I'm stronger than last time I need a heavier weight. That's how simple it is. So to be fit, get puffed. To be strong, overload your muscles and bones. Do it safely so you don't get hurt. Do it fast so you don't get bored. And then you could actually live your life to the max and go and do all the things that you want to do. Wouldn't that be bloody awesome? Live your life to the max. You could move Gary. He's bloody heavy. Woohoo!